Welcome Hagarin, this is Elixir and today we are talking more Homeworld Mobile. So this video is going to have two halves. The first section is going to be about how to control your ships effectively and quickly. The second section is going to be on some very useful resources for all players. There's going to be timestamps in the description if you want to jump to a particular bit. So to start off, we're going to go over a guide to control your ship effectively. To me, the ability to target a specific ship with only specific units and have specific movement control of particularly your flagship, or flag for short, is extremely important for playing this game well. And to that end, I wanted to go over the way I find most effective to control my ships. So first off, let's look at the settings. To access the settings menu, tap your portrait in the top left, then tap your level number and it'll give you your profile. Then you've got the settings tab just at the top there. You may want to increase or decrease the graphics settings depending on what device you're using, but I'll leave that to you. The main things we're interested in here are the game settings. There are a few checkboxes here and it's worth having a bit of an experiment with all of these to see what works for you. However, in particular, I like to have auto launch turned off, so that when I enter a mission I can choose when to get my strike craft or resources out. This is generally faster for most gameplay situations I've found thus far. For example, when you're mining, it's easy to get your resources out once your flagship is on top of some rocks. Then you can easily pick a rock right next to your flag and get mining, instead of having to separately tell your resources to move all the way over to find a specific rock that you can then go to, but your mileage may vary. Similarly, in missions, I like to be able to get all my strike craft out just as I'm entering a fight, rather than right at the start of the mission, as then I don't need to micromanage bringing the strike craft along with me to wherever I'm going. And on that note, if you want to do more micromanagement style movement, we're going to need to talk about groups. But to talk about groups, we're first going to need to discuss the in-mission UI. So I'm in a relic signature mission for this, as the enemies don't immediately come looking for you. They'll just wait until you actually get to the relic. So I can explain everything here without any pressure. On the right, there's the groups toggle at the top, up here. And then you've got your 4 different object indicators. So you've got your enemies at the top. We don't have any enemies currently available, so this is blank. And you've got your friendly units, and these are only the units that specifically belong to you, to all of your ships. Then you've got all allied friendly units, so those belonging to other players or NPCs, but things that you can't actively control. And there's also a bit of overlap here with mission objectives. So for example, the progenitor artifact in this mission comes up here. Lastly, at the bottom, there's the white triangle for non-combat objects such as asteroids. Ordinarily, if you select something, for example an enemy vessel, and then you press the attack button, then all of your units are going to try and attack that unit. It's often not the best idea to do this, because splitting up your firepower allows you to use the right weapon against the right enemy at the right time. This is very important in lots of different places, especially in strikes, which I'm planning to cover in a future video. So to tell a specific unit to target another specific unit, they have to be allocated to a group. To do so, select the unit via the list at the bottom. So here I'm going to select my frigate. So there's a little pop-up that comes up here. It tells us what the frigate is. You just want to tap the dotted circle that pops up. This will give you the option of 1 to 4. Let's just go with group 1 for now. So now my frigate has been assigned to group 1. If you tap the group symbol above the objects on the right, you can now see that the number 1 is available whilst all the others are grayed out. So if we tap on the available group, it now has actually selected all of the units that are assigned to that group. To show that we can select multiple specific units at once, let's also put an interceptor group into group 1. So here are my interceptors. Let's put them in group 1 as well. Now, if I select group 1, you can see on the bottom that both the frigate and the interceptor are both selected. Okay, so now I have 2 units allocated to group 1. If I select group 1 from the groups menu, I can then assign specific commands to just those units. A good example of this is the guard command. So to guard your flag with a group, go to the green menu, which is your units, which I already had opened here, and select whatever it is you want to guard. If first we tap the Explorer here, you can see that whilst the listing has been opened, I still have the frigate and the interceptor selected. If I tried to do this without a group selected, I would just end up selecting the Explorer and dropping whatever I previously selected. Let's show that. So if I unselect my group, try and select, for example, my frigate here, and then if I try and select the Explorer from this menu, it just selects the Explorer. Whereas if I do this with a group selected, I can select the Explorer in the listing here, but it's attempting to target the explorer with my selected units. So with a group selected, I can, and with the explorer's listing open, if I tap guard, watch what happens to the units when I do it.
Handshake confirmed. Guarding.
So then they've both moved into kind of an escort pattern around the flagship. So, okay, they're there, they're next to it, but why do I actually want to do this? So now if I just move the explorer, then the ships that I've told to guard it will come with. They will move by themselves without having to independently tell them to move. This can be really handy for moving any medium to long distances, because different units move at different speeds. If you're sending all of your units towards something all at once, your strike craft are going to get there first, followed by your frigates, and then lastly your flagship. And this is even more of a problem for carriers, which are very slow. Having all of your units engage with the enemy at the same time is really important, because A, you don't want your enemy to be able to take out your units one at a time, and B, you want to be able to take out your enemy's units one at a time very quickly. So being able to isolate an enemy by hitting them directly at once with all of your units is the best way to take them apart before they get a chance to fight back. I am planning to do a video in the future about different ship types and what you want to focus on and what you want to use for different situations, but we will come back to that in another video. So you may know that double tapping your flagship will allow you to move it directly to a space that you choose, like so. You get this nice little UI pop-up that you can then release, and it's going to move you over there. But a cool thing with groups is that you can do this with a group. So, for example, if I tap the group that I previously gathered, and then I tap on one of the units in there, I can bring up that same UI, but you can see that both units are now about to start moving together. So if I release this, they're going to give up their guard command and move to where I told them to go. But we actually do want them guarding here, so let's re-guard the explorer with them. Okay, so let's try and use these groups against some enemies now. There's some enemies waiting for us over by the progenitor artifact in this mission. So let's get our explorer heading over there. I personally like to have my explorer in its own group so that I can easily select it and tell it to do things directly. There's two ways to get over there. I can either look on the sensors map and see where the pings of the enemy are. They're over there. Then go back in, see where that is, and do a manual move to get over there. This is a little bit more precise. And allows you to, precisely move exactly where you want to go. But arguably the faster way to go is to select the objective you're trying to go to from the menu and just press move. Then with the unit selected in a group, it's going to just move directly on top of it. And because we've got our other units in a separate group guarding our flagship, they're going to just come with us at the same speed. Okay, so we've got some enemies. Let's see what we've got. Unfortunately, there's no frigates here because I would normally go for those. So what we can do here is let's target separate enemies with specific units. So I'm going to tell my flagship to attack this unit of interceptors. And I'm going to tell my interceptor and frigate to attack this squad of corvettes.
Engage all hostiles.
And we should be able to see that by doing that, we're specifically focusing down two distinct units. Of course, we do also actually want to pick up the progenitor artifact that's here. So let's get our resource collector out. I don't actually need to use a group here because only resource collectors can pick up items. So using the general interact command on the progenitor artifact, as long as I have no other group selected, we'll just ask all available resource collectors to go and collect it. So without a group selected, the resource collector will go and get it. However, I could have the resource collector in a group and tell it to go and pick up the artifact, and I'd get the same thing out of it. A reason you might actually want to do that with resource collectors is there's some missions where you've got multiple objectives that you're going to want to go and pick up or bring back to the flagship at the same time using multiple separate collectors. So that covers the combat controls. Stay tuned for future videos where I'm planning to use these tactics to take on things like strikes and other more difficult missions. Okay, so for this second part of the video, we're going to talk about two very important resources for this game. The first one of which is Discord. The game has an official Discord, which there will be a link for in the description below. For any of you who haven't used it before, Discord is basically a platform, online platform for individuals or bigger projects or games or whatever it is to host their own kind of private chat room, which is just extremely customizable and has great user accessibility. It supports text conversation, voice chat rooms, and live game streaming. So I've linked the Discord server for Homeworld Mobile in the description below, and to access it, just click the link and follow some of the instructions on there. There's an online web-based version, there's also a downloadable desktop version, and there's a mobile app, so you can always keep up to date with the game and talk to other people who are playing at the same time as you. You can also use it to ask questions whenever you need. The moderators and developers do actually frequent the server, and they've made specific channels for doing things like bug reports and glitches. There's a growing community forming on there, enjoying the game and talking about it, and I often check it out and chat sometimes. Hopefully I'll see you there. Secondly, during the beta testers put together a big old spreadsheet which details many different things about the game, ranging from the different enemy types and their strengths and weaknesses to where to farm for blueprints for specific ships and modules. Thankfully, they've collated all this information into a very convenient website, which is www.homeworldsource.net. There's way too much stuff on there for me to go over in this video, so I would highly recommend having a look over it and checking it whenever you have a question, because the answer may just be in there. But let's have a little bit of a look down whilst we're here. So you can see there's quick access buttons at the top. So let's go with enemies. It's going to take us to a new page where you've got details about all the different types of enemies from all the different factions, all the different unit types, and then a description and about them and tactics with how to fight them. This is very, very helpful, and I highly recommend checking it out. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching. The last couple of Homeworld Mobile videos I've made have been getting a lot of attention, which I'm really happy about. Any and all engagement you give to these videos gets it out to more people. So hopefully I can help out anyone else playing this game, and if we all band together, we'll have a good time. So yeah, please leave a like if you liked the video, comment with anything you found useful, and let me know if there's any other things you'd have liked to have seen. Subscribe if you want to see more Homeworld content, and I will see you in the Nimbus Galaxy. Bye!